Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hey, I've had my Tacoma now for about 2 months, and it's time to take a look at the quality of it, the fit and finish. You know, it's had enough time after driving around and flexing and all that good stuff for things to show up. So I'm curious, I want to take a look and see if there are any issues on my Tacoma, and these are things that you should look for when you get a new Tacoma. You know, let's check out Toyota's quality. Are they still paying attention? So we're going to start just looking around at the outside, you know, for the way panels fit, little dents or imperfections in the paint, things like that. And some of that I realize could have happened in shipping, but even so, when you buy it, you want it to be perfect, right? So first of all, we're just going to look at some of the seams here, you know, like right here on the edge, comparing that seam over here to this seam, which looks pretty good. One always, it seems, in many brands is the seam in the hood. I know in the Jeep up there, it's bigger on one side than the other. So we're just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm not measuring it or anything. I'm not going to go crazy. But we're going to look down the seam here. And then we're going to walk over here real quick to compare. And to the naked eye, to me, it does look, and let's focus in right here on this spot. If we look at that as compared to this, I will say it is, to the naked eye, a little bit wider on the passenger side. Now, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing glaring. You're not going to look at it from the front and go, gee, that hood is really off. But there is a bit of a difference. If we look across the top of the grill, you know, running right along this seam, does it look any different? Again, paying particular attention to the edge because that's where you can really tell. Looking at that edge compared to this edge, looks almost perfect. I'd say over here it's just a hair closer to the hood, and that would make sense because the hood is not, is not perfectly straight there either. Next up, just looking at the fenders. You know, I had these fenders on the Ram Rebel that I had, and they were glued at the top. And they started to come off. So I'm pretty sensitive to that. We're just going to look around the fenders a little bit, make sure it's all nice and snug, and it looks to be. I don't see any gaps on the passenger side. Let's check out the driver's side. Yeah, you can see the tape right here. Looks like they're taped in there anyway. So it is a little bit different over here. You can see a gap. I can fit my fingernail in right there. But if we go back over here to the passenger side, about the same actually. Again, you can see the tape in here, I suppose, right along the edge. I'm assuming that's tape, if it's done the same way that Ram does theirs. Going back here to the rear, again, just looking along the seam, that looks really tight back there. Come over here to the driver's side, and looks pretty darn good to me too there. As far as some more of the seams go, just look along the doors, you know, taking a look there, taking a look down here. Everything looks nice and tight. Right along the side here, right up here where the fender fits. Take a quick look over to the other side while we still have it in mind. Looks about the same there. The seaming on the doors, or the gaps rather, all look pretty good to me, so I don't see any real issues there. Now let's check out the tailgate. Again, we're going to look at the seam, or the gap right here on the edge. That doesn't look too bad. Come over here, and I see a problem right now. I don't know if you guys have spotted it. And I actually noticed this the other day. It kind of gave me the idea for the video. And that's right here. You see that? That is a chip. And I would almost guess that that was probably a bubble or something, maybe from the factory, because I'm not sure what could fly up and nick it right there. Taking a look at the other side, there is no matching, fortunately, chip or anything there. So we do need to take care of that. That actually is, once you know it's there, of course it's glaring, right? Now a little dab of touch-up paint should take care of that. If it really bothered you, you could take it back up to the shop. I'm sure they would fix something like that. Another thing I'm going to look at now that I'm back here is this cap. you'll notice there is a little bit of play there. A little bit there, which, you know, isn't a bad thing. How about up at the front? Pretty tight there. No issues there. Let's check out the other side. A little bit there, and same thing on this side. Now, that's one thing I want to point out. You know, a lot of people talk about noises and things. You know, they hear things, they can't figure out what they are. You know, even something as little as this, if it's flexible enough, and it gets really hot down here to heat up the rubber, the plastic, this can actually make noise when you're going down the road. You might have to hit a bump or something. Could be wind bolstering, might cause a noise there, but that's just the kind of little annoying thing that you might experience. That you're never going to figure it out. I would never even think to look there unless I was doing some kind of a video like this. But right up here in the front, let's check that. That is pretty darn tight there. So no issues there. I don't have any issues with that. Next, we're going to take a look at the tail lights here. Again, the gapping right along the side here. I'm looking for paint chips as well, now that I'm aware of them. Come over here to the other side, see how this one looks. Looks pretty darn close to me. I don't see any issues there. And if you're going to get paint chips, it's going to be along these edges, right? Where at the factory they push in these lights, or maybe something does fly up off the road and hit. Let's check this little area here where it sticks out. You can see it kind of comes out away from the body a little bit there. What about on the other side? Yeah, it looks pretty much identical there, so I'd say they're probably within the same tolerance as well. As far as any kind of denting or anything like that, it's real easy, especially in bright sun. Of course, the truck has to be clean. You can look down the sides and see if there's any dimpling or scratching or dents or anything like that. You know, the things that might happen while the truck is sitting in the parking lot at the dealership and they're opening car doors and truck doors next to them. So you want to pay particular attention to that. Nothing worse than getting the truck home, washing it all up, looking down the side and seeing a dimple or an indentation or something in the side. I didn't see anything like that on mine. As we walk across the hood, another big area where there would be just beaming problems if you had them. Any kind of dents or anything like that. I don't see anything like that. We have the neighbor dogs come out to talk to us. Looking down the side again here, all nice and clean, no issues, no dimpling. And the other thing you need to be aware of, you know, if there is some sort of a problem at the dealership, for instance, somebody opened a car door into the side of your brand new truck, unbeknownst to you, they're going to bring somebody in and fix that. And I believe there's some sort of a rule or a tolerance, whereas if it's not too bad, they don't even have to tell you about it. But it would be nice to know that, you know, if you're buying the truck, if it's had any kind of body work, no matter how minor done to it. So it's good to look around just to see that, and it is a good bargaining tool too. You know, something to bring up when you're negotiating price is that, hey, there was a dent repaired in the side of this truck. Just bodes in your favor a little bit. That's about it on the outside. Everything looks good on this truck to me. Of course, you look at the glass, make sure it's not scratched or anything. Now the inside, and of course I've been using this truck, so there are going to be some scuff marks and things, and that's from me. But you just want to make sure that, you know, there's no gouging or anything crazy in the door cards or in the dash. You know, this plastic scratches really, really easily if you really think about it. I don't have any issues in mine. Everything is top-notch in here. No issues. Nothing in the rear. Nothing in the rears on either sides. Make sure you pay attention to the back of the seats. You know, people taking them out for test drives with, you know, little Johnny and little Susie might have scraped up or scraped up the back of your seats, potentially to the point where they need to be repaired. So you want to pay attention to that. Nothing else really in here. Take a look at the ceiling. Make sure that there's no issues up there, you know, with the card or anything, that it might have been dirtied or soiled or scratched, especially if you happen to get one that has a light finish on it. Things like that really show up. And of course, they're the things that you don't notice until you get home. Down here in Texas, we have to pay attention to the windshield. You want to make sure there's no chips or anything in the windshield from test drives. You know, unless you buy a truck that just came in, like I did, you can have that happen, and if the dealer may not even catch it, so you need to be aware of it. You certainly don't want a $700 windshield bill because the dealer says it was that way, it wasn't that way when you bought it. And by the way, that can also happen in transit. You know, these trucks are on semis, and stones and things do fly up in the air, so you want to make sure that your glass, particularly your windshield, is free of any chips or anything like that. Everything else looks pretty good to me. Check the door cards, make sure they're not all scratched up or anything crazy like that. And really, that's about it. It's just a little 10-minute. I think this video probably is a little over 10 minutes now, but just 10 minutes with your truck before you take it off the lot, preferably, to make sure that you don't have any of these issues. And then a month or two later, while it's still fresh off the lot and under warranty, so you can take it in and get it fixed if anything does move around. You know, it is going to flex, and it is going to creak and move a little bit as you're driving it. So that's the time to get these things fixed. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, talk about that a little bit. I thought it was pretty important. I always do it with my new vehicles just to make sure I catch anything that might be a problem before I get too far into ownership. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you guys check out these kind of things. I'd be curious. Also, if you haven't before and you're interested, check out my other channel. It is RobMotive, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator up there. And don't forget, click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Have a great day. Bye.